This meeting is being recorded, both video and audio, and will be posted on the district website. The first item on the agenda is a review and approval of the minutes from our October 22nd, 2024 meeting. Is there any discussion around those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening. Thank you. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. The first item I have for you tonight is our personnel update. I am here to announce that we received a retirement notification. Ms. Deborah Pushes sent in her letter stating that she is going to be retiring on January 31st, 2025. It has been a hot rumor for a while. We've known it, but we got official notification. So it's not official until it's actually official, and we did get the letter. So we wish Ms. Pushes the best. She's been a staple in this district for a very long time. So she still has a little time left before she goes off to retirement, but and we'll celebrate her at a later date. As far as new hires go, we did hire a new ABA at Park Ave Elementary, Miss Gloria Rodriguez. The staff over there have been very busy interviewing and stuff. I know I've had some coming in and out of my office lately, so the hiring continues. There's no rest for them at Park Ave, but we look forward to onboarding, and hopefully it would be nice one day when I can sit here and report that we're fully staffed across the district. But I'm happy to say that they're still trickling in, so we're good with that. And then we continue to keep our positions that have been vacant for some time are still vacant. We keep bumping them up on the school spring board every now and then, hoping to get some new applicants, new interest, but we still have not received any applications for those. Are there any questions about personnel? No? Okay, moving on. Under my instructional leadership update, the first thing I'd like to report on is our statewide systems of support. Since our last school committee meeting, we've had a couple of meetings with our state partners. As I mentioned previously, we call them SAUS. It's Statewide System of Support. It's kind of Webster's little nickname for them, and they actually like the name. So they've explained that coming into a meeting, they have a new member, and we keep referring to them as SAUS, and they're like, that's us. We're SAUS. We're the team. So they have a new team with a new member that we've met recently, Grace. They've relocated a couple of other members and switched things around a little bit, and they have refined their structures. Last year, they were very actively involved with our DILT meetings and our walkthroughs. They attended all of the walkthroughs with us throughout the district as we worked through the process. This year, they are taking a little bit of a step back from the walkthrough process, and like what we did as a DILT instructional leadership team as looking at data and doing our monitoring and our instructional priority on 3, 6, and 9 doesn't mean we're not working across the district and looking at the district, but we're just monitoring those grade levels. They are doing something similar to the schools where they were active participants between our middle and our high school. They are now going to be focusing on their efforts in one school, but it doesn't mean they're not going to be paying attention to the district, but they have chosen Webster Middle School to put their primary focus. And they are also not going to be participating in our walkthroughs on a regular basis like that. They feel we have a structure, a solid structure in place. They're happy with the work they've seen there. Now they are going to really hone in on the planning. They're going to look at common planning time and see how we're using that. And they'll be focusing, like I said, their main focus on Webster Middle School with common planning time, but yet giving also the leaders, myself and the central office leaders, some coaching opportunities for us and how we can work with our schools around common planning time. So they have adjusted their roles. We're still working through. They told us that they will be coming to some of our DILT meetings, but they don't participate in the walkthroughs. They might do one walkthrough at each for each half of the year. So one walkthrough in the first half, one walkthrough in the second half. They would coordinate their time to participate in the common planning time at the middle school around those days, and then they'll be giving feedback to the district on that. So we look forward to their continued support and meeting with them, and we will continue the work moving forward. Are there any questions about that? Great. We, as a district leadership team, have continued our walkthroughs. We were in all buildings on Monday, November 4th. In your packet, I included some feedback if you wanted to read that, so you can see what kind of information we're sending back out to the teachers. I know the teachers, initially were looking for specific feedback. When you're in and out of a classroom, they want immediate feedback on what we thought of their lesson and how it was going. But again, as a leadership team, we're not looking at the initial, we are looking at trends that we're seeing across the district. So I wanted to supply you with a sample of the kind of information. We will be sending that out to them monthly. What we do, usually we have 2 walkthroughs a month. We compile the data so that way we can report back on 24 classrooms that we've seen and give some feedback about trends that we're seeing across the district. And then internally, we talk about that and see how can we make adjustments and move, what do we need to alter on what we're working. So hopefully, it's not just about what we're seeing, but the action steps that we're taking as a leadership team to respond to what we're seeing. What do we need to work on? So we continue to do that. And is there any questions about that? No. And then next, I want to give a nice shout out. Hopefully, I'm not stealing any of Heidi's thunder, but I didn't want to wait until Heidi was here. Miss Kate Birdie, I think most of you know Miss Birdie. She got Rookie of the Year, so congratulations to her. She was Rookie of the Year for Project Lead the Way Bright Light Award at a recent Project Lead the Way conference on October 8th. I put a little copy of the statute in your packet for you so you could see. The nomination said, Kate is an active participant in community events and brings creativity and excitement to the new AR curriculum. Her student projects are exemplar and a testament to her dedication and delivery of quality STEM education. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because if anybody knows anything about the Project Lead the Way courses, they are a huge commitment. I mean, before you it's not something that you just get and go teach. You're doing a couple weeks of training, individual 40-hour weeks training ahead of time, and then there's another 40 hours on top of that before you're even starting to get into the curriculum. And she's dove right in, along with Kathy Gardner, who's jumped on board now, also at STEM at the middle school, and they are doing a wonderful job with the program and always looking to figure out how we can bring more to the students, more hands-on activity to the students, and really try and promote the pathways and the projects that we have going on. So I just want to give Kate a huge shout out and thank her for her hard work and dedication to the students here in Webster. It is very well deserved. And she did tell me that she didn't even know it. The first time they met her, she had a shirt on that said Rookie. So it was meant to be, I told her. It was meant to be. But thanks to Kate. And then next, I want to report on our Bartlett High principal search. That is underway. The committee has met. We held our first meeting here last Thursday. We will go through the process, and we're scheduling interviews in the week of November 25th, so we'll keep you up to date on that. And then in your packet, I did give some guidance about the MCAS for you to read. As you know, the vote passed the state, and the DESE had sent out some notifications on what that's going to impact. So I put that in the packet. I don't know that I need to read that. I can say they did send out some Q&As. One of the questions is, when will the law take effect? Was it immediate? According to the guidance provided by the Secretary of the Commonwealth, the earliest the law would take effect is December 5th. They were questions about, will the MCAS retest in ELA and math scheduled for November 24th go forward? November 2024. And will students who achieve qualifying scores earn a CD? The answer to that is yes. Do high school students need to earn a CD in order to graduate? Yes, high school students will still need to earn the CD in order to graduate. What's the new law on students who previously earned a CD before the date? Nothing has changed. If they've already earned it, they'll be able to graduate. What's going to be the impact on students going back? Once the law takes effect, it'll go to the school graduation. So if somebody has not passed it, once the law takes effect, they would be relying on the school, because you can't earn a CD because it is no longer, you don't need the MCAS to earn the CD. So it'll be a local decision process, which they're going to give more guidance on coming up. So that's the feedback we've got right now. They're telling us to pay attention. There's going to be more coming down the way. They're given some guidance also on, today I received on chronically absent students last year. They collected the attendance on that, and we were able, we've been asking about what's our guidance, because we want to do some potential Saturday schools and do some camps over the summer so students can earn attendance back. How are we going to, what do we need to do to collect the attendance? How do we report the attendance? What are the guidelines around that? And they're basically saying now that they're not going to collect any additional attendance. It's going to be a local decision on how they want to handle that. So it's going to fall back to the school districts. We will be able to have students come in and make up attendance if we want to offset that. So that'll be a local decision that we can do that. And they're also working through a couple of other things that they, asked us not to disclose yet, that they're going to come out with further guidance down the road. So it's a moving target right now. It's something we need to pay attention to. But, stressing still that right now even though the MCAS, is not a graduation requirement, school districts are still being assessed on the MCAS. So they're still important, and students need to know that they still need to be taken important, because it's going to reflect poorly on the school district if not, in our accountability. Any questions on instructional? No? Okay. On management and operations, we are underway with our initial budget meetings. Ms. Pontos and I have met with most groups, and we are working together on consolidating a first draft. In other updates, we had a very nice veteran ceremony on Thursday, November 7th at Webster Middle School. I'd like to thank Ms. Peterson for hosting that and for celebrating our veterans and reminding us how important it is to honor all of those who have served. So thank you. That's a very nice event that the middle school does, and we appreciate their recognition of the veterans. And that's all I have for you this evening. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Prangeli. Any questions from the committee?
Through the chair, I don't have a question, but a comment.
Yes.
Because I went to the Veterans Day Parade, and Bartlett had a group of students play in the parade, and then they played the Star Spangled Banner at the ceremony and America the Beautiful. And I told them what a great job they did. It was nice to see students. Small group, but they did a fabulous job.
Yep.
So kudos to them. I hope it increases. They did a very, very good job
Thank you.
representing us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Any other questions or comments from the committee? No, hearing none, thank you for your updates, Mrs. Prangeli.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a business manager report. Good evening, Mrs. Santos.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to start with the Bartlett High School renovation project and giving you some updates. Before I jump into some of the key activities that are going on, a couple reminders for the committee and the public who might be watching. On our website, we do regularly post pictures. We've been rotating the pictures on the site as we continue to make more progress. So I encourage the committee as well as the public, if they haven't driven around the property to get a glimpse of it, to certainly take a look at the slideshow that you can look through on the website. Roughly, I'm updating that like every 2 weeks now as progress continues, and as we see that pace increase, we'll see if we can get more pictures up pretty quickly. The other thing is I did include in your schedule, we've talked about this in the past, but I wanted you to have this for your reference, the dates that we're following for all 3 phases of the project. One thing I wanted to point out, just so everyone's aware, while we have 3 phases, in terms of the work effort and the size of those phases, they're not equitable. So phase 1 represents 50% of the project. Phase 2 represents 30% of the project, and then phase 3 represents 20% of the project. So this first phase is the biggest one, mainly due to all of the infrastructure work that's needed. There's a huge undertaking around the infrastructure work that's needed. So wanted to provide that just so you had that for your perspective as we move through the project. Let me jump into some of the details on some of the key activities, and I'll try to summarize these up as much as possible. We did go out to bid for our technology RFP. The technology RFP includes infrastructure that we need for the high school, so our closet switches as well as our access points, our wireless access points, and some servers, and those we've gone out to bid on, as well as selecting the technology person or vendor who will do our integration work. We're expecting to award that contract in early December. It does need to go to the school building committee the first week in December, and then we're hoping to award that immediately afterwards. We continue with some of the selection activities. So color selection has been our key focus. So all of the paint colors for the entire building have been selected. We're working on finalizing the sketches associated with that and where those colors will be placed throughout the building, but we have a really nice color palette that we had to select from. We will have some accent walls throughout the building, and some of the main areas will have some pops of green. In the classroom, we'll have sort of a beigey gray to offset some of the colors to match with some of the other selections that we made for the cabinetry, the flooring, some of the molding. So I think it's going to really complement itself. So really happy about that. Also want to report that painting has begun in the gymnasium already. So work is underway. You'll notice if you go around the campus, there's been a lot of site work continuing to happen. I think one of the major accomplishments is the completion of the sidewalks around the other side of the building. So now that when staff are walking from the back parking lot into the building, instead of walking between cones, they're actually able to get up on a sidewalk, and I'm sure everyone feels a lot better about being up on the sidewalk now. What's remaining in phase 1 is a little bit more curb work around the basketball court. So there's some parking right in front of there, and so that curb work behind that will be completed the week of Thanksgiving. And that should pretty much wrap up the majority of the site work that's expected in phase 1. There'll be some small remnant work going on, but the majority of that's been tackled. From a construction standpoint, if you drive around, the masonry for the loading dock is completed, and the foundation dock has actually been formed. All of the underground plumbing in the kitchen and the slab is ready to be poured in that area. We're expecting windows to be shipped and arrive late in November so that installation can start in the December timeframe. The majority of the roof membrane is in now, and we've actually started setting up some of the mechanical units up on the roof as well. The sump pumps in the basement are actually operational. We're using a temporary pump right now. One basin is completely dry. The other one has some water that's being extracted. We have ordered cafeteria furniture as well as the classroom lecterns. They're on order right now. When they get in, they'll be placed in storage until we're ready to use them. Of course, the cafeteria furniture will be coming out and being ready for the completion of phase 1. A lot of the lecterns will stay in storage until we're ready to roll those out. The steel, and you saw this in some of the pictures, but the steel for the balcony has been installed. The electrical's starting to be run on the auditorium floor. A lot of work's been done on the second floor. It's been framed, it's been boarded, taped, and some ceilings have already been installed. And on the first floor, they're beginning to pour the slabs and putting in all the conduits. And then lastly, we've been working on what's called the keying schedule. So to just give you an explanation of what that is throughout the building, you can have a grand master key, master keys, sub-master keys. So really coming up with how are we going to organize, how we're going to hand out keys, physical keys, beyond the access ones that we use for digital access to the building. So we've had a few working sessions to try to define that. It's a lot easier said than done, to actually try to simplify it so that in some cases where you might have a substitute custodian come in, how do you limit the access that they might have when they're here, but yet not have teachers or administrators having to carry around multiple keys. So that conversation's ongoing, and like I said, not as easy as it sounds.
There's a key for everything.
There is a key for everything, exactly. But I do want to point out, as we're looking at it, we're looking at this from a two kind of pronged perspective from the keying is obviously how many keys are you going to have to carry? But at the same time, it's really from who needs access, where and when, as well as how do we also plan for safety purposes if people need that as well. So we're trying to balance both of those needs when we're looking at how we're going to structure this. Been enlightening. So, any questions?
Just one, Ms. Contos, where on the website do we find the pictures of the project?
It's actually under, if you search on Building Committee, I think it comes up on the Building Committee page, because we actually have a page that has a summary of everything that the Building Committee is working on. So you'll have the agendas, the meeting minutes, as well as a summary of all of the MSBA phases of the project, as well, and where we've been, and then the pictures should be also there.
Yeah, if you go to district and you go to our district, the very top link is building committee.
Also in your packet, under the superintendent's note, I have a link directly to the pictures as well that you can click on.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's just great, I think, for the public to be aware of the significant progress that we've already made, you know, with not only the outside, but some of the inside physical plant work that's being done. I think it's really encouraging for people to see.
It is, and I think, you know, the momentum's really picking up. You know, we're beyond that demolition, beyond a lot of the rough work, and we're really moving into seeing it take shape, which is really very exciting as we get through the last leg of this phase. I think we're all super excited about that. All right, let's move on to some other maintenance updates. Of course, as Murphy's Law would have it, the pump on our primary boiler here at the high school has failed. This particular boiler is a newer boiler, not the ones that we put in last year, but a relatively newer boiler, I think 2022.
Yeah.
So of course, this boiler, we really only need it to remain functional until April. Because the other two boilers that we actually have are sufficient to heat this section of the building once we move into phase 2. So we are looking at a minimum viable solution to resolving this issue. So we are going to start with cleaning it in hopes that that does the trick and we won't have to invest any money in replacing the actual motor on the pump. We actually started with a little bit of this before the meeting started. The thermostat sensor in this room is not working right now, so the part is on order. It's covered under warranty, and we will be replacing that as well. Touching on Webster Middle School, we actually have a couple capital projects underway. I want to give an update on those. The sound system for Webster Middle School, the installation has been completed, and the training has been planned. Although they finished the installation, a couple of the units aren't working as they were expected, so they are doing some troubleshooting on that. As soon as that's resolved, that training will take place with staff so that they know how to use it. I reported on this in August, but wanted to give you an update on the HVAC controller upgrade. The project is completed, but the vendor that we're working with is completing some additional tuning of the software that we use to manage all of the controllers throughout the system. Believe it or not, it's pretty nuanced in terms of making sure that you have that structured correctly in the software, so that continues. On the window glass replacement, it's 98% complete. There are a few remaining windows that need to be scheduled, and we're working with the vendor to get that completed. So really excited about that. Last item is at Park Ave. I think I reported about this, and we finally actually got the part in and got it scheduled and replaced, and that is that the mixing valve that supports the HVAC system, just so you know, mixing valve is used to regulate the water temperature, actually was replaced yesterday. So that's been completed, and I don't have any additional updates on maintenance, although as they come up, we'll continue to report on them here. Any questions? And it looks like the superintendent and I have been so busy that we cross tracks, and I'm not going to give another update on where we are with the budget since she already did that, but I will let you know that in your packet, we just put a copy of the budget schedule again, so you have that for your reference, so you know what that timeline looks like in terms of our activities. And that's all I have for this evening. Any questions for me?
Doesn't look
Thanks.
like it. Thank you, Mrs. Contos. Appreciate your updates. The next item on the agenda is our principal report, and joining us this evening from Park Ave Elementary is Miss Amy Poliafico. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so first up on the agenda is I just wanted to review some of our professional development offerings that we have been offering to staff, both during our scheduled half-day PDs as well as other times outside of those days. So we're very fortunate that we have a lot of staff who want to continue their learning even outside of our scheduled half-day or full-day PD days. In October, we did offer, as part of our half-day PD, utilizing data from Dibbles, making sure that the teachers fully understand how to utilize our reading data, how to utilize our new M-Class, which is our online program for giving our reading assessment, which it creates groups for us, gives us instructional focus areas, provides suggested activities to meet some students' individual needs. So we had a PD on that. Ongoing through our faculty meetings and various in-school meetings that we have, we are working on understanding grade level work, which is directly tied to our instructional priority, ensuring that teachers can look at an assignment and assess that it is on grade level, it is assessing grade level standards, what standards to what extent. So we want to make sure that we are providing every student at Park Ave the highest opportunity to access grade level material. My assistant principal, Jess Ahutsky, provides optional PD sessions as well. We have great turnouts for this, usually about 10 to 12 staff per section. The last 2 months, she has offered facilitating math discourse, genre writing, and best practices in reading for English language learners. So these are usually 2-hour sessions. They meet for an hour twice, before school or after school. And teachers can get additional PDPs for attending these workshops with Jess. We've had quite a few events. Next on the agenda is events. We have had October as Fire Safety Month, as we all know, I'm sure. So we did have 3 different visits from the fire department. They came to provide 2 separate sessions for our K-4 students, and then came back separately. I guess it'd be 4 visits, because they came back separately for our pre-K students, afternoon and morning. So they were in and out, and every time they pulled in, I thought there was they were coming to do a fire alarm practice, a fire drill, but usually they park out back, so I can't see them coming. So I knew it wasn't that. We also, so PTO brought an event for our preschool. They brought the Tanglewood Marionette Puppet Show to the preschool, and that they performed Sleeping Beauty, and that was from a donation from the Janet Melzer Humanities Trust. So it was a great event. They had their stage set up and marionette puppets for our preschool. So certainly thank you to PTO, and thank you to the Janet Melzer Humanities Trust for that event for our preschool. We are also in the throes of Girls on the Run. We held our practice run on November 2nd, and our students have their fall 5K. It's at Holy Cross this year. It is on November 24th, and the race starts at 9 a.m. for anybody who wants to attend anywhere along the course. I know from having ran it in the past. It's always fun to see familiar faces along the course. So I'm sure you'll see lots of PAE staff there cheering on our 3rd and 4th graders. We also had Worcester Academy come back and bring portions of their play, Matilda the Musical, for grades 1 through 4. Last year, they came to perform Sound of Music, and so it's become a good partnership where they come and do portions of whatever show they're putting on for our students, and they get in a little extra practice, and the students get to see part of the show. So that was a great event. And this Saturday, our PTO is holding their fall festival at the elementary school. It is from 1 to 3, and it's just a time to come out and play games. There'll be a bake sale. So we encourage you to come enjoy some fall festivities with us. My last bullet item is some family engagement activities that have gone on. I held my first family listening session in October. I invited families to come in. Really, I wanted to hear about them on 2 topics, hear what they had to share around, does your child enjoy coming to school? Why or why not? And how can we help you better understand what your child is learning in school? Really based on the survey that Dr. Mackay shared a few weeks ago. Based on the Title I survey, that was a pretty high-ranking area that parents asked for. Unfortunately, I only had 2 RSVPs, so it was a very intimate meeting in my office, just a couple of us over coffee. But I was able to learn some things from those few parents, and they had some really great ideas about things we could provide for our special education students, ways that we can meet their needs. So I thought it was worthwhile, and I will continue to hold them in the hopes that our participation grows. I will vary topics, I will vary times to try to increase participation. This Thursday, we have an ELL parent breakfast happening called a Conversation Circle. So it is organized by our family liaison, Westy Oliveira. And the goal is to really bring together adults, our family members who are maybe learning English, into a safe space where they can practice their English with some guidance and be able to really just have an opportunity in a safe place to talk to other people also learning the language. And this month, we also have conferences happening on November 20th. This year, they are all on the same day. It'll be a half day for families for PAE only. So it will not be a half day for the other schools in the district. Conferences will happen in the afternoon and then again in the evening. Signups have already gone out. We're in the process of making sure we can line up translation for those for the conferences and anything else we need to make sure we can hear from our families. And that is all I have on my agenda. Any questions for me?
Thanks, Ms. Poliafico. Any questions from the committee?
Through the chair.
Member Scriglia?
I just have a question about the family engagement for the ELL luncheon. How is that being shared to families if they wanted to learn more about it? Is it through Class Dojo or?
Yeah, so our family liaison is reaching out to our families of ELL students as well as through our ELL teachers. So reaching out to any families who have students who are also ELL or indicate that they need translations on their family survey, their home language survey.
Another question through the chair.
Sure.
I'm on social media, and there was and this might be for Ms. Hare too, a question about CPAC for the district. And I looked on the district website and I didn't see anything indicating the CPAC or any upcoming like coffee dates or luncheons. And I know some districts do offer those. They might not be widely attended, but I know we don't have a CPAC or trying to form one, so I don't know if there's any, maybe not today, but any ongoing update on trying to form a CPAC.
We haven't had a CPAC in quite a while. We had some members that decided that for one reason or other, they weren't able to be the president of the CPAC. So we did have somebody express interest last school year, and there wasn't any follow-through. So in early December, we're going to have a basic rights night, and we're hoping to recruit and start up a CPAC this year.
That's awesome, and just always like the district website's a great, in my experience, a great way as a local place for notices to go out, so just like upcoming events, like, throw that on the calendar so families can see it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Scriglia. Any other questions or comments from the committee? No? Well, thank you again for your update. Sounds like lots of things going on over at Park Avenue.
Yeah, I'm always amazed by how many things actually happen between times here.
Yes, that's true. Lots of fundraising stuff. I know that's not yet on our agenda, but lots of fundraising stuff happening at Park Ave too. So great to hear. But before we get to that, our next item on our agenda is our update from our student rep. Good evening, Hope. I think you're on. Oh, okay. No, you're very much on, so at least we know that's working.
Good evening.
Evening.
I have some updates for just to start off. I have that obviously the first quarter of the school year has ended. It ended on November 1st. So the past 2 weeks. We have marketing classes selling cookies for $1 a piece. We also had parent-teacher conferences, and with that, the school held a tacos talking with teachers event during the conferences to try and make it more enjoyable and hopefully get more of a crowd to show up. We also had the class of 2028 pizza fundraiser with Papa Gino's on November 8th. And on October 30th, we had the National Honor Society induction. We also have started MCAS makeup testing, and this will go until November 18th. And then we have winter signups have been released for sports. And then we have a home football game this Friday against St. Paul. That's it. It's a short one this week.
Sounds like a lot of good things going on, though.
Yes, busy.
Hard to believe the first quarter's already
Oh
over.
yeah, it's gone very quickly. We're almost at Christmas, which is
No.
insane.
That's going to go fast.
Yeah, it's been fast so far. So
Appreciate your updates. Hopefully we get lots of signups for winter sports.
yes, well, that's what we're hoping. Fingers crossed. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Please.
I was pleased to see at National Honor Society your speaker, Brianna Doherty, because she was a former student of mine, and we're still in contact. And she had gone on to Nichols, and she's teaching at Nichols now. She's a math whiz. It was great to see her back and all the new inductees, too. It was a very nice evening.
Yeah, it was a lot of work for us to put together, but it was a good night. It all came together very well, and I think it was all very successful, even with those who had to speak with their nerves. I think everything worked out very well.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? No? Well, thank you, Hope. Appreciate your updates. Nice to see you. And the next item on the agenda under old business is a monthly fundraising update. As a reminder, it is not the role of the school committee to approve fundraising activities. Those are approved at the building level, but we do review them when we meet. I see a bunch of them in here from Park Ave PTO, whether it's a winter literacy night, book bingo, I'm just going to run through them, Mrs. Perangeli, winter carnival, cookies and canvas, which is a crowd favorite, I think, and Pie Day, which also was probably a really fun one, and the Someone Special Dance, and that runs us all the way up until May. And then beyond that, we have a couple from Bartlett High School. The Student Council is doing a couple here. Turkey feathers, Valentine's sales for the class of 2025. More Valentine's sales here, and then the cheerleaders as well. So lots of good things happening. Anything you want to add about those?
No, I just want to thank everybody. It takes a lot of time to put this together, to go through it. And I mean, there's a lot of staff and adults behind all of this fundraising that put their time in. And so just the continued thanks for that, for supporting the school district the way they do. It's pretty amazing.
Agree. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yep.
The next item on the agenda under new business is the acceptance of a donation in the amount of $157 for the soccer team at Bartlett High School.
Yep. It was a donation by Mr. Keith Goodyear for the Bartlett High soccer team. We donated food that they were selling for their senior night.
Oh, great. I will entertain a motion to accept that donation in the amount of $157.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes, and I would like to thank, give me his name again, I can never pronounce his
Mr.
last name.
Keith Goodyear. Yep.
Mr. Goodyear for his donation. Very much appreciated. And the next item on the agenda is the instructional assistance request for intent to bargain. Mrs. Perangeli?
Yeah, it looks like I didn't finish my sentence there. We received a letter from the instructional assistants to enter into negotiations. As you know, all of our contracts are up this year. So we will be looking for a school committee participant to assist in those negotiations.
Okay. So I will entertain a nomination, I suppose, for a school committee representative.
To the chair.
Mr. Adamopoulos?
I would nominate Chairwoman.
There's a motion. Is there a second or any further discussion?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the discussion and approval of one FTE additional LPN for the school year and ESY at Park Ave Elementary School.
Good evening. So I am here to ask the school committee for a full-time nurse. And the reason is that we had a student move in last year that required nursing services, and the contracted rate is very high. It's running about $130,000 a year. And if we were to add the full-time position to our budget, it would enable us to save about 50%.
And Ms. Ayer, this is a nurse that's required for us to provide safety and care, right, to the student?
The nurse is on the student's IEP, and the level of nursing could be an LPN.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair.
Member Scriglia?
Did we talk about a nurse last meeting too? Is this the same?
Different. So last meeting, we added in district a
Okay.
.5 nurse to assist with the needs in district. This is an additional student who needs a one-on-one nurse just for that student per IEP.
Thanks for clarifying as well. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Well, it sounds like this is an opportunity for us to save some money while still providing the necessary support to the student. I'll entertain a motion to approve this additional 1.0 FTE LPN.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is a review, signing, and transfer of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. And we're signing the warrant in the amount of $294,000, $294,741. That's a new addition to our agenda, having our amount on there, Mrs. Prangelli. Keeping me on my toes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone. That might be a new record, 6:49. Well done.